Good morning. How are you? I'm waking up. So I've been meaning to give you the story so far for a few days now. So this is it. I'm doing it. Story so far because this journey, even though today is day 7, um, this journey actually started before then. It's just that on day 1, when I did my first video, was the day I said, right, you're definitely going to Edinburgh. But I had already started exploring the idea of putting this show together, and I went as far as having 5 days of research and development, or R&D, as we call it in the business, darling, with Sarah, who you met the other day on day 3, my director, and Michael Roulston. He is my musical director and a dear old friend and a fellow Victoria Wood fan. And yeah, Michael and I have known each other for 25 years. Sarah and I have known each other for 31 years. And we all work in theatre and cabaret and musical theatre. Uh, so in no, what day? Where are we now? August, September? Yeah. Anyway, a little while ago, we got together and we had 5 days of research and development, full days where we started off with all of the sheet music for all of the Victoria Wood songs I could possibly find, which was probably, I don't know, the long list probably had about 100 songs on. I mean, I've since found out that on PRS, Victoria Wood has 257 songs listed, but I didn't want to go down the road of getting Acorn Antiques the musical involved, or That Day We Sang, and many other projects. I was sort of focusing on Victoria Wood has seen on TV, her stand up stuff, and her earlier stuff like Wood and Walters and Lucky Bag, which a lot of people, unless you're a mad fan, might not have even heard of. So we had this big list of songs, and we basically sang through them and just talked about whether we thought they were funny or not funny, or whether they were diverse. And there were some songs that did the same job. So in a show that's only 1 hour long and you've only got a finite amount of songs you can do, obviously you'd say to yourself, all right, well, this song kind of does the same job as this song, and therefore we got to choose one, and we normally would pick the one that was either funniest or most poignant, or just was most appropriate to me. I think was sometimes the deciding factor. We lumped them into categories, so which ones were about relationships, which ones were about loss, which ones were about love, which ones were about disappointment, and we saw what the crossovers of all of those were. Well, Sarah did. She was like, she's a devil with a post-it note. I tell you, the organizational skills of that woman is amazing. Michael and I are just dicking around in the corner with a piano. And there's lovely photos. In fact, I'll put them up online again today, given that I'm talking about it now. So if you go to my Facebook page, oh no, I'll put them on. I'll put them on Instagram. I'll put them on Instagram, which is Paulus underscore looks, and you'll see how many times my cat Harley got involved in the research and development period of looking for my friend. It's delightful and very cute, but it gets out of hand at some point. He's just lying over the entire keyboard and accidentally pressing the button that plays the demo. These electric keyboards have a demo button on them, and they're just programmed to play the Cuckoo Waltz or something by Chopin at the touch of a button. And we're sitting at the table other side of the room. Cat starts playing the piano without moving his paws. Amazing. Anyway, the 5 days of research and development culminated in my having written the first draft of the script. Well, actually, I think I did that on day 1. So, yeah, I think I'd written 4 drafts of the script by the end of that. And we whittled it down to 12 song choices. And then we had what Sarah calls a sharing. So a sharing is basically a performance, but a really low key one. I had the script in front of me with my song words and my script, my spoken words as well. We invited around 20 people, so probably around 15 came. And originally, the idea of the sharing was supposed to be that you just invited some people whose opinion you valued so that you could get feedback from them afterwards and just check whether you were writing, whether you'd put together the show that you intended to put together. And obviously, having a live audience in front of you brings it to life, and you realise some problems with the script or some problems with the idea that you've had, and you get feedback. You're deliberately inviting people there to say, and what do you think, and pose questions for them afterwards. Now, at some point, we were so pleased with the research and development period that we got, I think I got a bit overexcited, and I invited people like venue owners and promoters and producers and PR people as well. And I did sort of square it with the team. I think we all just thought it was in a very good, strong place already. Now, unfortunately, what that meant was that I was terrified on the day of the R&D, and I think I gave a terrible, terrible performance and fluffed a lot of words in the songs, and mostly the songs actually, and just hated the fact that I had this script on my iPad, and I couldn't properly engage with the audience, and I thought it was the worst hour of my entire career. But it doesn't really come across as awfully on the video that we recorded. If you're a performer, my students will know this already, I strongly recommend you filming what you do as much as you can. I mean, everybody, has the ability to do this on their smartphones now. Find a little tripod for a tenner online and take things to open mic nights or gigs that you're doing and ask someone to film it, or just set it up and press play yourself. You're not going to like what you see. I'm turning into the teacher now, teacher talking now. You're not going to like what you see. You're not going to like how you sound. You're going to think that you're a weirdo. You're going to think that you don't actually sound like that. You're going to hate yourself, and you're going to want to never perform ever again. But you have to actually do it. And you have to actually get past all of those feelings that I've just mentioned, because it is invaluable what you will see, what you will notice about yourself. But it's tough to watch. And you must give yourself a nice big gap between recording it and having the experience and then actually sitting down and watching it. And when you do watch it, I'll stop being a teacher in a minute, just make sure that you give yourself a tremendous amount of love and forgiveness. And it's okay. It's okay that it's not brilliant. It's not okay that it's not perfect. And it's okay that you don't look or sound how you think or thought you looked or sounded. Because you'll learn loads and loads and loads of things. So I watched it eventually. I watched it like 3 weeks later. And I did learn lots of things. And one of the things I learned was I wasn't that awful. It wasn't that bad. And the point is that we'd only had 5 days of research and development. And when we spoke to people, the people that had come along, like venue owners, etc., many of them said, for 5 days from scratch, from a blank piece of paper, that's very impressive, which is lovely. So I think I've got myself a PR man from it. In fact, he said he would do the PR if I decide to go to Edinburgh. So that's Mr. Kevin Wilson. Thank you very much, Mr. Wilson. Very well known, well respected PR chap, is on board if I want him to be. And the venues gave me some lovely feedback. Mr. Luke Meredith from the PBH Free Fringe very kindly came along and watched the show and sent me some feedback as well with a friend of his. And yeah, it's just good to get it. I'm really glad that I had that experience 3 weeks-ish ago than on the first day of the Edinburgh Festival, because I think it would have set me back for days and days and days and days during the festival, whereas this experience meant I had, days and days and days to just wallow and be upset and think I was awful without another performance straight away getting in the way. So yeah, it's good. It's good. I've never done it this way. I'm doing the Sarah way. I'm following Sarah's method in many ways because some of you know Sarah-Louise has done Edinburgh a lot of times, and she's been very successful at Edinburgh and around the world, and regionally around this country. She works extremely hard. She has a great work ethic, and she does things in a certain way. And I thought, well, after knowing you for 31 years, and deciding to work together, I think, as much as I am an utter control freak, I'm going to try and do this your way and learn from you. So do my best to let go and be guided. This is very not like me. I'm going to finish today with something that I've been creating. I've been watching so many Victoria Wood DVDs, some of which I haven't seen for years and years and years, decades. Some of which I never watched the first time round, like her early screenplays, Happy Since I Met You and Talent. And there's another one I can't remember the name of. And Wood and Walters, I never watched that the first time around. I never bought it on DVD until recently. And that was the first sketch show she ever did, which was for Granada. And I've started collating a list of Victoria Wood words or phrases, things that keep coming up again and again in her work. I suppose we'd call them memes now, or tropes, I suppose. And what the rule is, if I hear it 3 times or more over the huge arc of her career and work, then it goes on the list. But some things have gone on the list because they are so well remembered and well loved, and they've become such a part of how we feel about Victoria and the fabric of what she has woven into our lives, that the 3 time rule has been superseded by the strength of the time that she said it. Hope that makes some sense. Anyway, it's just for fun. But the Victoria Wood words are, because what it is, sorry, I'll do it in a minute. What it is, you know, sometimes on Facebook, it was a long time ago now, but on Facebook they had this thing called word bubbles, and you could press a button and it would generate a big bubble, and all of the posts that you had done on Facebook, it would show you how frequently you used certain words. And so perhaps unsurprisingly, on my word bubble, the word cabaret was in the centre and the biggest word, and then you might have had theatre and Denby and cats and yoga and things like that, and just sort of a word bubble about your personality and the things that you talk about. So this is my Victoria Wood word bubble. Which I've gone and lost now because my phone's closed and the Face ID doesn't work. Oh, fun fact, when I'm in my ugly sister makeup for pantomime, I can't open my phone with Face ID because it doesn't recognise me, which tells me 2 things. A, I'm not an ugly sister. I am not as ugly as an ugly sister. And 2, I'm not going to be able to open my phone for the whole of Christmas. So, Victoria Wood words. Tray cloth. Vimto, jammed behind or between the, Dutch cap, toupees for Wengirola, Judith Chalmers, Pam Ayres, Bilberry yogurts, pedestal mats, placentas, Candlewick, cocoa, people called Connie, Meltis newberry fruits, Ken and Deirdre, bingo, Goodnight Vienna, forecourt attendant, impetigo, meat and potato pie, slimin, theodolites, people called Mottershed, Hermesitas, Estee Lauder's Youth Dew, and Eiderdown. I would love to hear from you. If you would like me to add anything to my Victoria Wood words, then please pop it in the comments. And I will see you tomorrow. Should we be saved? Button bread.